Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're going to the awards tonight. This is a Night at the Awards, directed by Tom Turevich, written by Roger Garrett. This is a season 7 episode of Laverne and Shirley. And we're going to have some facts about all of them later on. For
Indeed.
sure. Yeah.
To some extent, as stated in the last episode, Tom Turbovic, we're still working on finding notes, but we got some good Roger Garrett notes, as well as some great actor notes for today, so stick around.
Oh, yeah. Here's what the episode's about. Lenny Squiggy finished the screenplay to their first film, Blood Orgy of the Amazons, a different kind of love story, and struggling to get its production off the ground. Squiggy wants to use the $100 Lenny's kept stocked away for ages, literally in his stock, stored in his freezer, on the advice of his mother, to buy them tickets to the Golden Circle Awards so they can pitch a script to Joey Heatherton. Lenny refuses to cough up the dough. Squiggy steals the cash, then buys the tickets and lies to Lenny about where he got the money to buy it. While they try to woo one Bridget Barton to appear in the movie, Lenny makes a plan to go to the show and Squiggy offers her a second ticket. Lenny is accepting since it seems that Squiggy bought the tickets himself, but a guilty Squiggy decides to include Lenny instead of Rhonda. Soon the boys are rubbing elbows with Joey Heatherton on national TV, but can Lenny forgive Squiggy for his chicanery when the truth comes out? Meanwhile, Frank installs the dance floor at Cowboy Bill's. What do you think of this episode?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to give you a serious shout for having done an integration of the word chicanery in this that synopsis there. Michael McKean fans will understand what I'm talking about.
Or drama fans in general. Yeah, everybody knows Better Call Saul. That's the seems to be the big proof to people that he could do dramatic acting, which I knew he could do that for like decades because we've been
I knew that from the scene of him basically trying to do trauma surgery on poor Johnny Five.
Yeah, honestly, he does that with such sincerity in that movie that you knew he had the chops.
Mm-hmm.
He's had the chops for a long time. He did Shakespeare before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could do a lot of things. Well, go ahead.
So onto the episode itself. What did I think?
Yes.
I've known people like this. Not this exaggerated, obviously, but I have known, the folks that are so proud of their first script and they don't realize really what they've done as a comedy, or what they don't realize actually more often is they don't realize they've written a good drama, actually. And it's not until either shooting it or we've had discussions that I have to explain to them. You really have made something a lot darker than what you're intending, but that's okay. It's really good. Because that's happened multiple times, actually. There's even a friend of mine who is trying to do something that is meant to be sort of a parody or a film in the style of like Miami Connection and Hard Ticket to Hawaii. And it's like, no, you're actually making a decent disaster film here, guy.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
The Night at the Awards, this is, I've been really happy that the episodes that focus on the boys, I don't always love them, but I always like them a lot. And this is definitely one I really, really liked. I don't know if I love it. It gets a little distracted, it feels like, in the middle. Yeah. And the whole setup of the sock money and the theft and all that.
Yeah.
It doesn't do a lot for me. It's just, it doesn't create it leads to funny situations, but as an actual core plot mechanic or a core of the story, it doesn't drive me.
Actually, the sock part I really enjoy. What I think they should have chopped out was probably the whole Bridget part, even as much as I like it, I think it's funny. They could have chopped out the Bridget part, or they could have chopped up all the bit with Rhonda and that, because it really didn't need to exist. It kind of distracts from the meat of the Joey Heatherton conflict, of the boys arguing with the sock money. But I really like these pieces anyway. This isn't my absolute favorite boys episode. It's probably mid-tier for me in boys episodes. There's a lot of great stuff in it. Mm-hmm. So it's not Duke of Swigman to me, but it is really good.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, let's be real. It's no Born Too Late,
Yeah, it's not Born Too Late either. Yeah, it's like Lucas Squigum, Born Too Late, driving tests, all really high. This is a little bit lower. Helmet Weekend, which we're going to see later on, is going to be higher too. But this is it's a good, solid, fun boys app where they're having shenanigans. They're going through some shenanigans, and there's some really impactful stuff about Lenny's mom and about their friendship and their value to each other. The ending scene is immaculate.
Yeah, it's very good.
It really is.
There's some really good stuff. Yeah, the tag scene especially is fantastic.
Yeah, they're the ones that ruined the award ceremony.
It's like, look at us, we're fit, we're famous. But yeah, regarding this being a boys episode, it's also interesting that, you know, as well, this is the second of the really boys-centric episodes for the California years. And similarly, it is also written by Roger Garrett, who did Born Too Late last year. And what's, you know, it's kind of wild, like, he's done really diverse different episodes. He's done, like, you know, Fat City Holiday. He's credited on his first one was an anniversary show. Yeah. And he even wrote the script for Why Did the Fireman? Wow.
That's a diverse career. That is a diverse career.
And we still have 5 more as writer or teleplay for the rest of the show.
Yep.
So, because the thing that I guess that I like, though, in this episode with the boys, and I think, as you're saying, like, the core conflict really that's interesting is about the boys trying to get to the awards to get the script in the hands of Joey Heatherton. And so it feels like that is the goal in, like, these other scenes of, like, dealing with the actors and stuff. It's like if you could have taken this idea of the movie they're trying to make and made that an arc, like a background arc that's always adding spice to different episodes.
Yeah. They do try to do this. This has been mentioned a couple of episodes. And we do see them auditioning starlets.
Right.
But here we see them actually finish the script. So they finally have a script. Yeah.
And the idea of them, like, trying to shoot it indie or trying to do it this way. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if they had been bold enough to get a Roger Corman cameo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they already knew Roger Corman. Roger Corman had a big hand in Ron Howard.
Yeah.
In Ron Howard's directing career.
Exactly. So, and he worked with Cindy. He directed he directed Gas. It's one of the films he directed in the 70s.
Yeah.
So
didn't he also know Penny? I swear to God he knew Penny.
He knew Penny from somewhere. I'm pretty certain he did. He's not involved with the Savage Seven, but But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's involved with some project that she or Rob or somebody was in. So so it's but that's what I mean. It's like that sort of I agree with what you mean. Like, I really like the Bridget stuff. Yeah. I like it mostly just because I really like the actor. I think Kim Siddall plays Bridget, and she is wonderful. And unfortunately, did a few TV parts. I mean, really not much to mention for notes. The Trail Runs Cold after 2 episodes of T.J. Hooker in the mid '80s. Before this episode was just as a nurse in Chips, and as well as a dancer role in what is this here? Blood Orgy of the She Devils.
That's great. That's great. That's great. That is great.
I was very happy to find that. Yeah, I've been wanting to tell you that piece of information for a couple of weeks now when I first read that.
That's glorious. That's glorious.
But like I said, like, I agree. Like, I love her stuff, but like, I do understand that in this episode. But yeah, it's like her, because I mean, I think even like her chemistry, her timing with the boys, and like when Squiggy's directing her, she is giving it her all. I love that, and it captures. This is a gal that like may not have had a lot of parts by this point. She probably had been auditioning for a decade. Like, it shows.
Oh yeah. She has been through multiple skeezy producers before this moment.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It is great. It is great. Absolutely great.
But it feels almost like that and the Rhonda scene are almost, if not orphaned from other stories, they could have worked as a different episode. Yeah.
I actually would have liked to see more episodes of boys trying desperately to get this film made. They become B-movie level directors. The girls get involved. The girls end up probably as their leads. Oh, yeah. And they get driving fame. And that's the right kind of level of fame. Like a Manos level fame, even. Yeah.
Or H.G. Lewis was the other one I was thinking.
Yes. Well, they're just doing like these ridiculous nudie splatter movies.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
Which are just from their adolescent mind. They're doing these wonderful splatter movies, and they become big drive-in sensations. And that's the right level of fame, where you're kind of famous, but not really famous. And you probably still have to do workaday stuff. We know a lot of people who were in B movies, unless you were, you got really, really high up in the echelon, like Corman, you ended up having to do skin flicks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of folks don't know that, like, even Abel Ferrara, who was, is like considered one of the great art house filmmakers of the 80s and 90s. Yeah, this total avant-garde, archetype, essentially. But yeah, I mean, he did porno films in the 70s before he did Miss 45.
A lot of people who start out with the indie cred or go through all this end up having to do that. Or end up doing it, or end up learning learning the ropes there.
It's weird when we talk about like doing nudie flicks and stuff like that. But the thing is, in this time, this was when it was all shot on film. You had to know what you were doing, like that's why, like, I actually recently watched a Doris Wishman film.
Yes.
And it was A Nude on the Moon. And it's like that, it's not a great movie, obviously, it's schlock.
Yeah.
But the camera work's really good. The lab work's really good.
Yeah.
And, it's like you had to learn how to do that right, or else, you were screwed, and you basically were out, like, in some cases, a few $100 to a few $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. You had to have some kind of actual knowledge of what you were trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the boys getting there if they wanted to get there.
Yep. And that would have been a lot of fun to just see them kind of fall into that and, like, have that would have been an awesome ending for the show. Is that the reason that Lenny disappears, or Squiggy and Lenny, started showing up less in season 8? Is this is 1969? They're going off to the Philippines to go do an Eddie Romero monster movie.
Yeah, you could just simply have them be on the phone.
Oh yeah,
and do amyl nitrate shots. Probably get them in and out in a couple of days, but that would have been easier. We do get like one Fantastic Boys episode in season 8.
Okay.
Which we can look forward to.
Okay,
it's really, really good. Really, really good.
See, we can be positive about season 8 from time to time.
Yeah. It has its benefits. There are like 3 or 4 good episodes that exist in that season. It's just everything else that happens. We'll get there.
But anyway, so let's go ahead and get back to the episode, though, because I feel bad. We're kind of doing a lot of free association here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
That's true.
I want to remark upon Lenny's the way he types. Half standard.
Oh my god. Love it.
Really picking it out like that. That's so great. That's such a great little detail.
Which I also was going to mention on top of that is just overall that opening is the boys' apartment. This is our first time getting to see it in California, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And look at all of the details that are in that apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Feast your eyes on that, because we get so many little knickknacks. They get Western pictures up. Lenny has a stuffed animal, stuffed bear on his bunk up top. There's so many little. I like their California apartment a lot better than the Milwaukee apartments. That's just me.
Yeah, I can see why from a noir inner city sort of vibe, I like the Milwaukee one, but in terms of it being more livable, the LA one's much more livable. But it's very you can see the sort of 80s style sitcom interior. Like, it almost looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse practically.
Yes. It is like their own personal Pee-wee's Playhouse, where they have just decorated it all themselves, with dying plants and weird puppets on top of the refrigerator.
Right.
And dishes that have never been washed and never will be washed.
The ape mask on the dresser.
Yes.
Did you see Jeffrey? I couldn't see Jeffrey, and that worried me.
I think I saw Jeffrey at one point. He is strapped to the wall during this run. They put him on the wall. He's got like a whole place to. He likes the altitude. He's strapped to the wall. Look for him. I think he's in Helmet Weekend.
Okay.
But Jeffrey's always going to be with them. So, feast your lap on that. There's so many little great lines in this one. Every bell I own.
Yeah, box office epidemic.
Yes.
That hits different today.
Sadly. Tragically, yes. And I love that Lenny misinterpreted his mother's message about socking away $100.
Yeah.
For emergency by literally putting it in a sock and putting it in the freezer.
It seems as if he believes that clothing is like an animal, and therefore, or like meat or produce, and therefore you use the refrigerator to keep it fresh. And if you really want to keep it fresh, you keep it in the freezer.
Yeah, even then, even then, like, he's just being a total literalist here. And then Squiggy points out, your mom walked down you when she was 5.
Your mother deserted you when you was 5.
5. Perfect. Perfect Squiggy voice. Perfect Squiggy voice.
Oh, that line, the ache. Maybe if I had $100 in my socks, she wouldn't have. Maybe so, maybe so.
God.
And I like the way that Squiggy says that. Is sort of like, even though he's being, crass in the way he's saying your mom ran out on you, and I think it's just, David's softness, his tenderness sort of coming out. The maybe so is sort of like, I'm not going to dignify that with an answer because I know that's not true. Your mom was sucked.
Yeah. Lenny acknowledges later in the season that his mom sucked. He acknowledges that later in the episode. That's progress.
That's progress.
He progresses a lot in season 7.
Yep. But yeah, I also like to find out when Lenny leaves the room, it is their room, bar none.
Yeah. You notice that they have a little bathroom right over in the corner.
Yeah, it's choice.
Yes. I wonder how teeny it is in there.
It's pretty much standing room only.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Well, I hope they can sit down, because otherwise, imagine freeballing a deuce standing.
Oh. Oh.
Without the other, that's not what things to get at.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm groaning because it's like just the mental image more than anything.
Yeah.
Not that you said it. Like, I mean, we're all. Let's be real here. All the folks out there listening, you were thinking it. I hope you were thinking it. But anyway, Squiggy's stealing the money. My note is, how dare you, Squig? How dare you?
Mine is Squig, no.
This feels like a bigger betrayal of trust than we've seen in a long time between these two. Yeah.
Probably the biggest betrayal of trust since season 5, when Squiggy kind of quasi gets the diner out from underneath Lenny.
Yeah.
Kind of quasi.
Yeah.
But then again, that was fairer because the two of them end up running the diner together, and then they realize they suck at it.
Yep.
And then they try to pawn it off on the girls to get back their money. So here it's not fair because he goes on to lie to Lenny and say, "Oh, I get the money myself. You don't need to busk for it. You don't need to do anything for it."
That's the thing. I think that's the thing, is the layers of dishonesty add up on this action, and that's why, and I will say, this is a very Squig thing. Like, as much as I love Squiggy, I'm not going to say this is not in character. It is just it's his lowest nature. That's what makes it unfortunate.
Yeah. It's understandable because he thinks he's doing it for the both of them. In his mind, he's doing this for the both of them. He's doing this for the movie. He's not even necessarily doing it for the glory, because the glory is not as much fun unless Lenny's with him. He's doing it partially to be a big shot, partially to get that script to Joey Heatherton so they can launch everything.
Right.
So in his head, it's justifiable.
Yeah, and he's deluded himself to think that it's going to happen. This is a sure thing.
Yeah, exactly. She will see it. She will say yes, and that will be that. Dear Joe, dear Joey. David does that. He's just rambling. It almost sounds like he's rambling aloud.
Mm-hmm.
All that bit. The little insert here we get of the girls, there's another thing that also feels like it doesn't need to exist in the episode, but it's cute. Shirley and Carmine dancing in their own world on that tiny little dance floor.
It's so adorable. It's clunkily executed, this whole bit, but it is very cute. I love Carmine just smiling and going with it, because I love how much Carmine loves being with Shirley now.
Oh yeah, and this season especially, it's very evident. And the two of them are just cuddled up in their own world.
Mm-hmm.
Just dancing, and nothing else exists for them. Really, nothing else exists. Frank and Laverne are trying to dance around them, and they just don't exist. Two of them are lost in La La Land.
Yep.
They're happy.
They're happy.
It's really sweet.
Oh God, that's gonna be the happiest they'll be for the rest of this show, isn't it?
No, they have moments where they're happy throughout the rest of the season, and then season 8 happens. Anyway.
Anywho, but so then they decide to get going and decide to leave, and now we really got to be going. Is where you're going? The bowling or movies was very
bowling
cute.
Movie bowling. And Lenny's just missing about it. And, I love the symbols don't go with your bone structure. What an observation for Carmine to make.
Yeah.
Well, he does have very sharp cheeks.
But Len being all set for busking is great, and I love the "give me money" on his hat and all that.
Yeah. So him, some two of them. Of course, he knows how to play the ukulele.
Yep.
He brings a little ukulele instead of bringing his full guitar, which is interesting enough to me. Because we know he still has his guitar.
What do you think the chances are Edna taught him how to play that?
Oh, definitely Edna taught him. Definitely Edna taught him.
And I also love Laverne being kind of into the look. She has this big grin on her face looking at Len. It's like you're preposterous, but that's cute.
Yeah. Oh, he's cute like a little puppy dog.
Yeah.
That was the look. And of course, I think that is an actual traditional folk song. Yeah, that was just something Michael might have pulled out off the top of his head. That's probably a folk song.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a traditional of some sort. Yeah, I love One Man Band, Len. The way he just throws himself into it.
Oh boy, yeah. With also with Michael, I have to say it's yet another case of his fantastic. Michael knows how to do a fall. He knows how to do a fall for camera really well.
Oh yeah.
It's good. It's a good splat.
Yes, it is. I was gonna say that's years of stage training happening there.
Mm-hmm.
That just reminds me of him talking about one of his first high school theater experiences. He was in Troilus and Cressida, which is Shakespeare. He's all dressed up like a gladiator. He comes up the stage, ready to deliver his line, with the spear in his hand, and he trips. And then he inhales a sponge that they used as
oh no,
as decoration on the stage to make it look like they're a mosaic.
Oh no.
He inhales a little piece of sponge. So he said. So for this story, he told he is sitting there choking on a piece of sponge for like the first 10 minutes of the play.
Oh no, poor dude.
That was his worst stage experience ever.
Understandably.
Poor guy. Yeah. He was a teenager to get out of the way quick. Poor guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Get your worst stage moment ASAP, and then the rest of it all coming up roses.
Oh yeah, I guess. So Miss Bridget Barton is there. She played girl at counter. The boys want to see her with our top on, and we'll do anything to make that happen.
Indeed, including saying quite the euphemism when they're in the apartment.
Oh yeah, you're allergic to wool. It's much too wet for the sweater, Bridget.
Oh yeah, okay. I actually have it. I wrote down. First, we have the sound effects. Sound effects from Lenny is great, but Squig's holding out. It's hot. It's so very hot. Much too hot for that sweater. The heat is driving you to a state of deep lust. Your clinging garment. They bind you. The sweater. You must get rid of the sweater. You're allergic to wool. You're getting wet. We're getting wetter. It's much too wet for a sweater.
Very subtle. Got that right by the censors. I don't know how they did that either. Well, Lenny makes monkey noises.
Very wild. Yeah, it's very good.
They are still so desperate to see boobs. And it's like, they've already successfully picked up girls at this point. It's amazing how desperate they are for boobs, even still here. It's just amazing.
I mean, well, okay. The thing is, as someone who does not, it's a boy thing. I like
boobs. What are you talking about?
I know, but I like boobs in a different way.
I like boobs in. You do know that I am bisexual.
I understand that, honey, but I'm saying that. What I'm saying is that you really can't have too many.
I just want one good pair. Anyway.
Aw.
Just Christina Hendrickson. Nothing else. Anyway.
But yeah, then we get the interruption from Rhonda and the whole Bridget out on the balcony. And I definitely see what you mean about the Bridget stuff is because basically this is Bridget and she's done. And like we don't necessarily get a punchline to that character popping up. We instead get it sort of sidelined by Rhonda to the point that Rhonda now becomes the point of drama. Yeah,
exactly. She almost might as well have not existed in this plot line. She exists for the boys to have a funny moment where they desperately try to get a girl to take her top off. That might as well have been Rhonda. Or they could have done all that hyperventilating stuff and she could have just, turned them down flat. Because Rhonda's too smart for that. That actually would have been more dramatically interesting.
Or, much more realistically, she could have built up and then said, oh, but the Hays Code won't let us do that.
Yeah.
And yes, I know by 66 the code was getting pretty much gone, but I think because I think the MPA was founded in 63 or so, wasn't it? 63, 64?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's around there. Yeah, because I know the R rating was partly created because of Night of the Living Dead, so that's a few years out. Actually, yeah, I mean, it's considered that was cited as the main case for why the MPA just said, we need to make an R rating. But
yeah. At this point, we get people eating flesh. Yeah,
yeah,
and R.
That would have been, I feel like, the more Rhonda thing to do is to figure out a way to just, essentially blue ball them,
Yeah, she would. She would know how to get, as we see later in the episode, she knows exactly how to get what she wants out of them without breaking a sweat. And, okay, so Lenny exits. He screws up with Bridget. She probably slaps him across the face. We don't see it. But what the heck is going on with Squiggy and Rhonda this season?
It's a little weird.
It is. I kind of feel like the writers are testing the water here or trying something here. Because there's definitely a sense of them playing cat and mouse with each other. Yeah. And we get a line in the next episode where Laverne goes to Rhonda. All you gotta do is go out in the middle of the hallway and say, "Squiggy, I want you."
Oh, yeah. Good point. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, it almost feels like they were trying Rhonda and Squiggy out over in this corner. And you definitely have the Carmine and Shirley stuff going hot and heavy. And then you kind of get a couple of little Laverne and Lenny hints, but those really don't go anywhere until we get towards the end of the season. But it is an AU, but it is a very nice AU, and we'll get there anyway. We'll get there anyway.
My girlfriend, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but it kind of feels like, specifically with Squiggy and Rhonda, in season 6, she thought he was a good catch. She was impressed by him. She thought he was attractive to a degree until we hear, the most least attractive person in the room during To Tell the Truth. And here, there's kind of like a pas de deux, a duel here, where you see two kind of cagey, kind of clever people trying to get something out of each other. He wants sex, she wants that ticket, and they are going to do anything to get there. Like, make sure that you keep that the zipper stuck.
Right.
Yeah. So it feels like something's brewing. So what did you think of that in general? You said weird.
Weird. Weird in the sense that I'm trying to figure out like what thematically is meant to be the element.
Yeah.
What is, because I guess what I mean is Shirley with the dancer, I get.
Yeah.
Laverne and Lenny, as we talked about, is like sandbox, like they're kids together.
Yeah.
And even Laverne with some of the other guys that she's had. With Sonny, they were a really good young adult partnership.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to see Squiggy and Rhonda, what the dynamic is. As you're saying, there is, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I see something there. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm curious if this is a case of that they just saw the potential for these characters to play, in a sense, to get these actors to, really have fun doing a flirty, will they, won't they sort of, as you're saying, this little devilish dance around one another.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I mean, I love that example of like, how about a little zip now, a little zap later, and like, I mean, first of all, that just makes me think of Zap Brannigan, but and then Rhonda's own scheme, her scheming here. There are people who have something in common in that there are a lot of things they'll do to get their way, and they're both kind of delusional about how much everyone likes them.
Yeah, and about how much talent they have sometimes, depending on the
exactly. Yeah, it
Rhonda's a great actress, but she wants to be kind of in the conversation of the new Hollywood, and she's not getting there. She's in B movies.
Mm-hmm.
Squiggy wants to be a wheeler and dealer, and he's getting there bit by bit. But he's basically managing guys like the tumbling acrobat guys. It's still progress, but that's not the echelon where he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both mediocre at different forms of art. So that's a very interesting way to put it. It's a very interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unique.
I'm curious how both you and as well some of our regular listeners will respond to us bringing up Lenny in the peephole and him going Squiggy, and Squiggy's response is yes, darling.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a great moment. Queerness on this show, I love it.
It's very Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. You know, it's like he's not my boyfriend. Hi, babe.
Hey, babe.
You know.
Yeah, that's a great. Well, you have to admit that Hot Fuzz has a certain level of queerness, and so does Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they knew about it. The producers knew that fans were giving the movie a queer reading, and they were very here for it. It's kind of like with Spinal Tap. You know, Michael and Christopher Guest are very aware that people read Nigel and David as being queer.
Mm-hmm.
So here you got, Lenny is basically Squee's darling in a lot of ways. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
In a lot of ways. I see it. This proves later in the episode how attached they are. And
absolutely,
how close they are. It's really good. It's a really good scene coming later.
And then we get the whole conversation between the two as Rhonda leaves.
When stoop so low, exit Bridget.
Yes. Boys, you're going to be mad when they find out there's no ticket, and she ain't going. Okay. And and she's going, you're out. And that's fair. You know, Lenny responds. This back and forth. This is one of those, like, you see the joke coming, but it's still so funny. They actually go, like, they had the guts to do it. You're not going to shout. You're not going to cry. You're not going to pout.
No, and I'm telling you why. So good. The Rappaport there is excellent. The patter is so good. So good. So good. So good. So good. And Lenny's very accepting. He's like, well, I couldn't do it. You did it. That's very him, to be that magnanimous. The dad's like, oh, wait, I can contribute. He goes over his stock money. That freeze frame there is so great. With the Lenny, no!
Yep, exactly. And it's great. It's so good. Yeah, and it's that is the type of freeze frame that really uses that part of the medium so well.
Yes.
And the particular frame they choose with the legs up and the posture is just, oh God, it's glorious.
Yeah, Michael's physical acting and David's volume and David's face as he comes out of the room going, no. And the way Michael could I think he still can even at 74. The way he can basically curl his knee almost all the way to his nose. This posture, this physical acting is just so great. He's been doing yoga for a very long time. That's how he can get his nose and his knee to connect that way.
Pretty much.
He can make himself very, very tiny as Lenny.
Well, hey, if they ever need to do a whitewashed Street Fighter movie, he can play Dalsim.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry. I'm not even being serious about that. No filmmakers do that. Don't fan art that.
Oh, it's too late. We're years too late. We're years too late on that one. We're years too late on that one. The innocent side of the boys just getting ready. Lenny putting mothballs in his pockets to avoid aftershave.
My mother got such a huge groan out of that when we watched this episode.
Like, of course he would do that. That's such a Lenny idea. It's like, well, I smell better. It's like, it keeps the bugs off.
And then we get to the whole moment of Lenny having to break the news to Rhonda that problems are, that things are afoot and she won't be going. And this whole Leslie and Michael just absolutely, love the scene. The boa smack. And Leslie's whole monologue and Lenny's just like, those are dirty when she picks up the knife and.
They both slaughter the scene. Leslie, in particular, eats this scene alive. She is so good and so underrated. And the way she sells the drama of it, Rhonda is used up. She's washed up. You won't have Rhonda to push around anymore. The way she does it, it's so good. It's so excellent. And he manages to project Lenny's terror in such a way that is so palpable and feels so real. No, Rhonda, don't kill yourself, please. And you just think of that poor boy as a little kid watching his mother do terrible things or threatening to do terrible things.
Good point.
And that's all you can see in him. But he deserves it for saying she's not talented at that point.
I was going to say regarding also Michael's performance here is he fills the room with his fear the way old really good horror movie actors used to.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Universal Horror and Val Lewton
Yeah.
character actors and
Yeah.
early Hammer stuff.
Oh yeah, he loves Hammer horror movies. He has a fondness for old school horror movies he grew up on, and he's to this day he'll still talk about it on Twitter. So you can see that leaking into his performance here. And he's balls to the wall, fantastic. They're both amazing, incredible here. I love, and the way he facilitates between being very aroused by Rhonda, to being very confused by her, to being horrified.
Mm-hmm.
Is so great. So great.
And
I
it's
want you bad.
practically in a single take.
Yeah.
That's the theater training.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They both have it. And I'm pretty sure Leslie has theatrical training.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
And I love how Rhonda's reaction isn't to say, "Are you going to now cast me in the movie?" The idea is her sauntering out after she's made him feel miserable, and sort of like, if you don't go with me, you're going to regret it every day of your life because of the performance I just gave you.
Exactly, because she has great confidence. Rhonda is a character that's extremely confident. In spite of all of her mess, her messiness here and there, she knows who she is, and she ain't gonna dent who she is for anybody. So that's really great. That's really perfect. The way they go for that is fascinating. And of course, in the end, the boys are gonna regret it, because in the end, what happens to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they should have just stuck with Rhonda in the end, and Rhonda would have probably charged them less money.
Right. I mean, the thing to know about making these kind of movies is that, yes, you should still strive when you're trying to make your first film.
Yes.
But there's a case of where if there's someone around you who really is that passionate that you can collaborate with, that you get along with, moreover, I'd say, honestly, just go for it. Because even though the final product may not be the best, you also have to protect yourself to have a good, especially if it's your first feature, have a good first experience.
Oh yeah, and of course, manage to get a good reputation going for yourself.
Exactly.
The boys aren't thinking about that at this point.
No, they're not. They're thinking about they're there for the ride basically, and that doesn't include the long-term goals of how am I going to feel when this is all done, which admittedly when you're making your first movie, short, long or otherwise, you're not thinking about that, and that's the sad truth. So as we go in, we get another reminder about the sock money, and David wonderfully coming out all dressed up and everything, and it says Lenny, no, and then we have to go, and etc. And they go on off. I feel like the Grauman set is from a movie from the late 60s.
Yeah.
But I don't know what from. And I need to... Actually, I forgot to look this up. Go ahead and, I guess, pontificate on it, but I'm going to take a look and see if I can find...
It's really pretty. Set dressing is excellent. I love Squiggy's cape with the pink lining matching his pink pants.
Mm-hmm.
That's so great. And the top hats and the tails that they've all rented. Or they've all got from Goodwill, rather. Apparently, allegedly. And yes, just about anything else. And the girls are sitting at home, cuddled up and leg clinging while they're doing beauty routines. As they went to the award show. I love that Gary Marshall went to such lengths to take this show to California setting-wise. So they could get celebrity cameos. And the best they could do aside from Joey Heatherton is the back of Tippi Hedren's head, and it's not really Tippi Hedren's head.
Yeah.
So it's a stand-in's head. And you sit there and you go, they went to all this trouble. All they've gotten so far is Troy Donahue, Tippi Hedren, and in the next few episodes, Charles Grodin.
That one's coming up. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Charles Grodin episode is right after moving in. That's in the next batch we're watching. As we record this. Oh, yeah. And they got in that Reagan bashing joke, which is really great.
Yes. Yeah. So basically meaning that sets this at some point in the late November 1966.
Yes. He has been elected governor of California.
Yeah.
And we're definitely as the poster says, 1966. We're about to move into 1967 next season. We end around 1967, 1968 almost. So that definitely That actually grounds us very neatly in a month, which is hard to do.
It does.
For the show.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah. Laverne and Shirley is a time warp in of itself.
Yeah,
winter is one day, spring is the next.
It's like an anthology, you know?
Yeah.
We're like it's like chapters out of order, man, like
Thank you,
raindrops. Yeah, like I'm just like saying, you know, like water drops fall. Anyway, I don't know. I'm losing track of here. I want to talk about the girls watching, doing their frou-frou together, and they're in their jammies, and it is so adorable.
Yeah.
And Warren Beatty making them weak in the knees. I love it.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so lovely. I love that.
The announcer, by the way, is not credited. The one who talks about Corrode, the multi-purpose cleaner that says no. It's but yeah, he sounds like Fred Fox Jr. to me.
Yeah, it does. Kind of. Go Fred Fox Jr. He still has a social media presence out there. Yo to Fred Fox Jr. He's a friend of a pod.
Yeah, he's good people.
Yeah, he's good people.
But anyway, yes, Corrode, the multi-purpose cleaner that says no to dust and stains and yes to just about anything else. That's euphemisms. Anyway.
Lenny is so happy to nearly get his hand broken by a pretty woman.
Yes.
He's so happy. It's famous pretty woman. Even though, how famous was Joey Heatherton in 1967? 1966.
Okay. Okay, so here's where I get to shine again, because we have Joey Heatherton as Joey Heatherton in Joey Heatherton. She was actually still working her way up the scene by 66. She had just done My Blood Runs Cold with fellow LNS guest star Troy Donahue.
Yes.
She had gone to work with Betty Davis and Susan Hayward on Where Love Is Gone. That's an Edward Dmytryk film.
Yeah. Oh my God. I specifically remember her from this movie with bullet hair, playing a teenager, who basically spends their entire part saying daddy over and over again, talking about daddy. That movie is amazingly campy. I have a fond spot for it.
But yeah, so at this point, when they actually did the episode, her career was actually slowly, not doing a lot of like narrative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the catch is that, Joey Heatherton in media and pop culture in the United States, she basically became more of like a game show person in the 70s. And part of this kind of led to, it just, I don't know if it was just having difficulty finding gigs. She may have pissed off, unfortunately, what can happen is that you spite some person and you may not even intend to, or it might even be you standing up for your rights. Because, I mean, as we know, actresses get, basically have their careers ruined by, asshole, chauvinistic producers, directors, and so forth all the time.
Yep.
It's probably possible that's what kind of started the spiral for her. But, so the fact they know who she is interesting. It also kind of shows that they know the type of movie and the type of up-and-coming star they actually believe they could get. Because at this point, getting the money for a movie called Blood Orgy of the Amazons is going to be a little tricky. I'm sure, an investor will probably say, you got to change the title. Yeah. But if they do go ahead and change the title, it's a possibility that it could, I don't know. I'm losing track of I'm sorry. I'm getting into like weird, like my brain's gone Tarantino and is trying to like extrapolate all the possibilities of all this.
I was going to say that they would have to start small to make cash.
Exactly. And that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. And in this stage of their career, Joey is an accessible personality. She is like, Tur Santa.
Yeah. Tur Satana. Yeah.
Tur Satana. I knew I was going to screw up her name.
It's okay.
She's awesome. Okay. Or was awesome. She was awesome.
Totally fucking rad. That's
yes. I did not mean to screw her name up. I am sorry.
It's actually Tur Satana was actually the physique. I remember when Vanessa was asking when we did Downcast what build she should look for. I sent her a picture from Faster Pussycat, and I was like, I think that's what I'm thinking.
There you
go. She was like, yeah, I could do that.
There you go.
So we have this whole backstage thing, Joey Heatherton, and then the whole, the Joey warming up and doing all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I will say, Joey has a wonderful, like, straight man comedy here. The way that
Yeah,
she does,
she does really well.
and the way that she does my mother exclaimed Jiminy at the leggy kicks.
Yeah.
And so, her timing, her physicality, I mean, she could have been really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what the heck happened.
She had a fun, bouncy, comedic. She could have done very well in a sitcom at this point. You could put her in kind of like a Doris Day show kind of vehicle where, she's working in a newspaper. She mellows by night. She's glamorous, but she's funny and down to earth and relatable. You could do that with her. She knew how to do comedy. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that nobody threw her a sitcom at this period in her career.
Yep.
I love that the boys end up on that revolving stage, Rasputin the Mad Monk.
Yes. Hello.
When he's pulling the envelope, pulling the script out of his pants.
Oh my God. By the way, yes, for anyone wondering, all 4 of the films referenced were real movies and did come out in 1966 and would have been up for awards during that season. Juliet of the Spirits, Man for All Seasons, Blow Up, and Rasputin the Mad Monk. The fact Rasputin the Mad Monk is in that list among those others is hysterical, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It is. Very much so. Kudos and shout out to Roger Garrett for making that extremely funny. I got a laugh out of that too. I'm like, oh my God, Rasputin the Mad Monk. I forgot that was the reference.
Yeah.
Because that's a schlocky drive-in movie. And if that could make it to that award show stage, the boys probably could. So...
Mm-hmm. On the bright side, though, as much as I will say, I will agree that it's kind of on the schlocky side, it's Hammer Schlock with Christopher Lee as Rasputin.
True. Very much so. And if anybody could play Rasputin, it was Christopher Lee.
Hell yeah.
He knew and nailed that stuff to the wall.
Absolutely.
The boys having another "we won" moments, which echoes back to Milwaukee. There's a lot of little brilliant Milwaukee echoes in season 7. But
I'm noticing that. I am noticing that. I was going to say, and everyone interpreting it as the real winner, and so the audience goes wild. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the boys get their moment in the sun. They deserve that moment in the sun. The girls just looking at each other very slowly. Just believe that this is happening.
Yep. Oh, and I love Squiggy grabbing the microphone.
Yeah.
It's a hot mic, and he's just like...
Yeah. I have long vowed that someday I will accept an award by saying I would like to thank my mother for making me possible. I've always promised myself that someday I'm going to do that. I want to thank my mother for making me possible. Because that's such a great moment. And Lenny thanks everybody in the Polish nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. All this beautiful.
But anyway, so then we get to, the kind of the finale of the whole gag, and, and Joey Heatherton finally has the script, and it's kind of cool that she actually does read it.
Yeah, she reads it. She takes the time to actually read it.
Yep, and over an hour and a half. What could she be doing with it? And Lenny's response, do you think she could be reading it? You rarely see Lenny sass Squiggy that hard.
Yeah, and he nails it pretty hard. Lenny is he's very positive about this whole experience. Squiggy feels destroyed, which is interesting, because Squiggy usually takes that lesson that being told you suck means you just will be great at something else.
Mm-hmm.
He takes this rejection super hard, which he tells us a comedy. For dramatical writers.
Dramatical writers. Oh, man. And it's funny, like, when you, to me, it's funny when you think about it in the context of different chunks of media. I mean, that's the reason Five Nights at Freddy's happened. He was trying to do kids' games, and the art direction on his work was horrifying.
Yeah.
And so he ended up... being, I think it was like his son or somebody like recommended, it's like, well, it's kind of creepy. And then it was like, huh, okay.
Yeah.
And then,
then he did horror games, and then he created a franchise in Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Markiplier climbing the mountain together.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just looking up Rasputin the Mad Monk. That's why I was kind of drifting off a second there. Yeah, no wonder it was a schlockier Hammer movie. It's not directed by Terrence Fisher or Freddie Francis.
Ah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Oh, it's by the guy who did The Brides and Face of Fu Manchu. That explains everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they just released that for Riff Tracks, I think.
They did, yes.
Yeah, just that just literally today, as we were taping this, to just date this for you all.
But yes, but yeah, this whole conclusion, and her saying I can't take it, she's doing a film similar to it. And, it's the which I think is a nice detail, because that did happen. There would be some actors that would say, yeah, like I love the material, but no, I'm already attached. I'm already signed the contract on something.
Yeah.
And the our names ain't worth the the carbon paper it's printed on. It's nice
Yeah.
shout.
Yeah. Very scripty. Yes. Very insidey. I like that a
Mm-hmm.
lot. The way this it finally comes out that you took the money, and the way the
Mm-hmm.
two of them deal with this is just great.
The hurt, the
Yeah.
surprised, and
Yeah. Heartbreaking. This is both heartbreaking and sweet and funny. All
yep.
three of them. I shouldn't say both three. Um.
Yeah. My mother sighed in exasperation, rolled her eyes at forgiving Squig for what he did. But
I actually think Lenny gets off way too easy on the Bridget thing. And Squiggy does too, and to a degree. No, they both do. They both equally get off too easy on it. Squig maybe gets off a little too easy here, but I don't think so because he's genuinely remorseful and he kind of gets his by being told that his very serious drama is in fact a comedy. And he's the one who's heartbroken versus Lenny going, "Wow, somebody read our script. They think we're good at something. We should keep expanding on this." So, in the end, that's almost enough of a come up because the poor guy's heart's broken. And then in the end, all the two of them need are each other, and that's a great point at this moment. The way Lenny comes to grips with this is amazing. He's also coming to grips with his mom. There's issues with his mom, which we probed a little bit in Cemetery. Yeah, as you said it, she ran on me when I was 5. It's just, ow. Oh. You stuck by me.
yeah.
You're the best.
Yep.
Emotions, my heart. It's so good.
It's
so
a very bromantic moment, and
Yes.
and the whole shake hands, stupid. It's good. It is.
Only the
It's
best
good.
is too good for you. It's so sweet. I love them. I love the both of them in this moment, and I love this moment. Period. They really have come a long way from hauling beer, as they point out in this tag scene.
Yep, shipping beer around Milwaukee to the big city in Hollywood. Yeah, and they got to be on an award show. They got to ruin the award show, and they're famous for it.
Yeah.
The photo finish.
Yeah.
Ding.
Yep. They were both so happy about that. The two morons who ruined the short show. We're famous. I love them both. So terrific. Such a good moment. Do you have more to say? Yeah,
Not really necessarily. I think I've covered most of all that I want to say. I mean, it's very good. I mean, I have some actor notes.
Go for it.
Which for stage manager that they had another Happy Days alum, John Edwards plays a stage manager that's kind of shuffling them around the place.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention him at the very least that he basically he ended his career in the 80s doing like some bits on Remington Steele and Mama's Family, which another interesting fun connection. But he in the early 70s he had bit parts in things like Fool's Parade, Gregorio, and His Angels, but he then had the double whammy of Stan's Children and Trouble Man for kind of more grindhousey stuff, which is, again, just one of those, when you're looking up the people involved in the show, you don't expect to see Trouble Man, which admittedly, Trouble Man's a little, it's a very pulpy noir blaxploitation movie, but oh man, it's got a great Marvin Gaye soundtrack though. It's really good.
Oh, it does. Oh, it's good. Yeah. I remember that one. I saw that one a long time ago.
Yep.
Long time ago. But yeah, the diversity of projects that people involved in this show have been attached to always tends to delight me. It really does.
It does, yeah. It is. It's enlightening also, I think, to how when you're a working actor, you just take the gig.
Oh yeah.
If it appeals to you, if it's good enough, it pays you, just take it.
Oh yeah. Anything that keeps the lights on and keeps your belly full.
Exactly.
In the end. Yeah.
The other thing I also wanted to point out, for those that look up on IMDb and see this information as well, so this is not common on IMDb, and it's actually not even very common even on the episodes themselves to see credit for staff writers. And I think because of the circumstances of this person's connection to the show and being a staff writer during season 7, Shirley Goldstein is uncredited for the episode, but was a staff writer on the show, and IMDb credits her as a as a staff writer, quote unquote, under the writer credits on this episode. But yeah, she is. We'll come back to her for Lightning Man down the line. But because just in case I forget or anything, a bit of a kind of more like a well-known script doctor, apparently, which is another, as we're talking about interesting connections, those different things, is that Goldstein became a WGA, the Writers Guild West award show writer and script doctor for different, specifically actors on request, actually. And it sounds like even because of that, she did some additional writing for Toonstruck, the Christopher Lloyd starring PC game from '96. So
intriguing. That's cool. That's very
so just in case, I just want to make sure to get those notes on record. So just in case my brain decides to, or we just get busy because we still got a few more weeks until we get to Lightning Man, and we'll be up to our eyeballs and stuff probably by then. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to add. I mean, it's a very, what I like about this episode is, we actually got, in my opinion, more material out of this than I thought. And which is this, I think, an example of how much these characters have endeared us to them.
Yeah.
And how much we want to see more, and we really want these episodes with them to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the end, this is all about the boys' relationship growing. They grow up more, they learn more, and that's definitely going to be a theme as we get deeper into season 5. So that's 8, 7, brain, why, 7, 7,
oh,
7. You'll edit this later.
Honey, oh, let me soothe the brain. It's a long week. It's okay. I love you. It's okay. Oh.
Okay. I think it's ranking time.
All right. I'm gonna give this a solid, like a flat 7. I think maybe like a 6.5, just because I just want more of the movie business stuff is cool. I just want more of it.
I'm going way higher with a 7.7. Though it's not hitting an 8 or a 9 or a 10 for me. It almost would edge an 8 for me, but the Bridges stuff is disjointed. And the Rhonda stuff doesn't pay off, and it needs to. And the Bridges stuff is disjointed, but everything surrounding it is good. Those individual scenes are great, and I really enjoy them. And even the bits of the girls are barely in this, but the bits that we get from them are great. Mm-hmm. But it's because the Bridget stuff's disjointed and really didn't need to exist in the episode, and because the Rhonda stuff doesn't lead anywhere, and it really needed one last little punch. I don't know how to employ it. I guess what I would have had to do is had her show up the awards herself.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would have it, and then have it be, everybody has to apologize to everybody else, but then that would take away from the big moment of the boys, and the boys need that moment. So I don't know.
Well, okay.
This is a higher 7 for me. Yeah.
Well, okay. So if we're gonna, pontificate on the possibilities, I would like to throw out a thought. If Rhonda shows up at the awards at the end, she's just doing her job. She's doing a job there. She's one of the models. She's a person helping backstage, what have you. And she watches the boys reconcile, and she either snaps a picture of it for them and their affections, or perhaps even drags the two reporters over. It's like, there they are. There's the ones who ruined the awards. And they're like, oh, great. Smile, guys. And they're just stuck in their handshake. And that's your freeze frame of them.
Exactly.
Like that's because I feel like that's as you're saying, like this almost sort of sense of reconciliation or sense of forgiveness or whatever, or at the very least, some sort of like build up. Like even like having Rhonda mess up Joey Heatherton somehow, or pushing the button that puts the boys around on stage, like that sort of integration. Like that's because I think, as you're saying, like that's the catch with the disjointment, is it's also that these disparate elements kind of happen in sort of a vignette style, but this is not a vignette episode. This really does have a core goal, conflict, obstacle to it, and it doesn't have those pieces that because of that, the vignette pieces become sort of orphaned on the sidelines, and they need to be brought back together.
Yeah. I feel almost like I said, I want more episodes of the boys doing the producer thing and writing more and all that stuff. I feel like the Bridget stuff could almost have been in an earlier episode, in like something in season 6. Bridget parts of it, and but I like the Rhonda stuff. I like how this expands on her relationship with the boys, but it just needed a button. The only thing it's missing is a button. yet. So,
And that's just kind of unfortunately what happens with the show quite a bit. Yeah. Unfortunately.
And so what's amazing is that sometimes they exist in the original version of the script, where everything gets tied up, and then somehow either in DVD edits or in the final product, it just doesn't end up coming through.
And I wonder sometimes if it can be time. It can be scripty is, timing all the takes and realizing, all right, this is running too long. We can't do it.
You can do. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
But hey, speaking of managing our time, we should make sure to give a little bit of time for our sponsored advertisement interval. All right, but I guess that covers everything for this week, don't it?
Yes, doesn't it? Definitely does.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching and listening to Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, you can find us at Night After Night PC or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, Patreon, WordPress, just stuff. Wow, I suddenly lost all of I put too much energy into the beginning and I couldn't hold the back and that. This is why I'm not an actor, by the way. I don't have the energy for it. Anywho, so... Lisa Deer, that is one enchanted earring on you that you're wearing. Oh my goodness.
Am I glimmering? Am I glowing? Laverne makes the mistake of wearing her late mother's diamond earrings to a date with the sleazy producer, and the girls have to scramble to find them when she loses them in his back seat. Can't you get them back before Frank knows she's lost them? This is some enchanted earring.
Yeah, it's some enchanted earring, all right. Yeah. But, cool.
Some enchanted earring.
Sleazy producer. I wonder what this guy will be like if he ever meets Lenny and Squiggy.
Oh, God. They would probably get rooked in the end. They would get rooked so fast. Bye, y'all. And for heaven's sake, make sure if an actor steps on you, you get their insurance information. If you're gonna break your head, make sure you're compensated. Call Saul.